A very good morning and a very warm welcome everyone. Today in this video we will study about indifference curve analysis, and I suggest you to follow the same steps as I followed in my video. So let's begin with our chapter number 4, indifference curve analysis. Yesterday I have taken one online class regarding this video, and there I made them understand about the definition. The definition says indifference curve is the locus of all those combinations of two goods which gives the same level of satisfaction to the consumer. Locus means 4 dots and we join the line, that is known as a locus, and there we have a combination of two goods which gives us the same level of satisfaction. You can see these are the points on the curve, indifference curve, and all these points are known as the commodities A, B and C, and all these combinations give us the same level of satisfaction. Now the definition once again: an indifference curve is defined as the locus of various combinations of two goods which yield means which gives the same level of satisfaction to the consumer, or the total satisfaction to the consumer. You can write any of the definitions. I have given many definitions to you. This is my notes. You can write this one also if you liked it. Whereas it is also known as diagrammatic presentation of an indifference set. Indifference set means commodity A equals to B equals to C equals to D. Now you can see this is a schedule of various combination of goods that will be equally satisfactory to the individual concerned, that means to the consumer. Please make this also. Okay, now there are some assumptions that we have to make before making any graph. That consumer is rational. Rational means I am impartial. मैं सबके लिए बराबर हूँ, मेरे लिए कोई different नहीं है. Utility can be measured in ordinal and marginal rate of substitution. I will discuss about this a bit later in the video. Once again, this is one more definition to make you understand about indifference curve once again. Each point on an indifference curve indicates that the consumer is indifferent between the two, and all points give him the same satisfaction or the same utility. मैं चाहे hide and seek खाऊं या Oreo खाऊं, my level of satisfaction remains the same. Now these are the properties of indifference curve. Basically there are 4, but I have given 5 or 6. First, indifference curve slope downwards to right. Why? You can see the curve, that why the curve is moving downwards sloping. Because a consumer wants to have more of one commodity, so they have to give up the another commodity. If a consumer decides to have one more unit of a commodity, for example, say apple, I want to have one more apple, so I have to give another. For example, orange must fall, so that the total satisfaction remains the same. Okay, if I want something, then I have to sacrifice the other. That's why the slope is downward. Now second property is indifference curve is convex to the origin. You must have been studied about concave and convex. So what does this property say? That they are convex to the origin. That means they are bored inward, अंदर की तरफ बना हुआ है. This is equivalent to saying that a consumer substitutes commodity X for the commodity Y, and this property is going to be solved with marginal rate of substitution. Okay, I will explain you, but before this, read it once again. Due to law of diminishing marginal utility that we have studied earlier, a consumer is always willing to sacrifice lesser units of a commodity for every additional unit of another good. हर किसी दूसरी good के लिए जब भी मैं एक additional unit मांगती हूँ, I have to sacrifice lesser of the other. Now, what do you mean by MRS? It is defined as the amount of Y the consumer is just willing to give up in comparison to the commodity X. Okay, why? Because we have to get one more unit of x and to maintain the same unit of y. You can see here the apples and the oranges, and how we can make the MRS, how we can calculate it by C, the change in oranges and change in apple. What is the amount of change in apples that remains? 1 to 2 to फिर 1 का डिफरेंस. बट ऑरेंजेस में कितने का डिफरेंस आ रहा है वो आपको देखना है, जैसे कि 8 and 4. नाउ द थर्ड प्रॉपर्टी इज indifference curve never intersect with each other. अगर ये दोनों कर्व एक साथ इंटरसेक्ट हो जाएं तब क्या होगा? सो आई विल शो यू हियर. क्या होगा इफ वी कंपेयर पॉइंट बी, आपको पॉइंट बी दिख रहा है, एंड पॉइंट सी, वी कैन सी दैट पॉइंट सी ऑफर्स मोर ऑफ अ गुड ए. हमेशा इंडिफरेंस कर्व पे जो पॉइंट ऊपर होते हैं वो हमें हायर लेवल ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन देते हैं एज कंपेयर टू द पॉइंट्स लाइंग बिलो. राइट, एज वी ऑलरेडी लर्न, कंज्यूमर्स ऑलवेज प्रेफर लार्जर क्वांटिटीज. हमें हमेशा ज़्यादा क्वांटिटीज अच्छी लगती हैं. जैसे कि आप इसमें देख सकते हैं, इसे हम इंडिफरेंस मैप भी बोलते हैं. जैसे कि 3 आईसी कर्व्स हैं आपके पास, 4 IC 1 2 3 4. जो सबसे ऊपर है दैट गिव्स हायर लेवल ऑफ सेटिस्फैक्शन, and higher indifference curve represents higher satisfaction, and this is known as indifference map. Now I explain you once again that higher indifference curve represents larger bundles of goods, bundles which contain more of both or more of at least one. कोई एक तो commodity ज़्यादा होती ही है. Okay, so it is assumed that a consumer always prefer larger bundle as it gives him higher satisfaction. हमें भी जब मार्केट में जाते हैं तो हमें जब कोई चीज़ ज़्यादा मिलती है, बम्पर प्राइस पे मिलती है, तो हम खुश होते हैं. नेक्स्ट है आपका इंडिफरेंस कर्व डू नॉट टच द हॉरिजॉन्टल और वर्टिकल एक्सिस. हमें कभी टच नहीं करवाना होता हॉरिजॉन्टल और वर्टिकल एक्सिस. वाई? बिकॉज it will be against our basic assumption. हमारी basic assumption क्या थी? that consumer buys 2 goods in combination. मगर इस पे क्या हो जाएगा? this is violating our basic assumption. You can please read that. And this is the conclusion part. Indifference curves are negatively sloped. That means downward sloping.